Welcome to Fox Valley in Focus. I'm your host, Barb Nadeau, and our guests today are Anna Mejia. She is the Care Coordination Unit Supervisor for Senior Services Associates Incorporated, and Nikita White Simmons, Advocate at Home Volunteer Coordinator for Hospice Services. Sounds like a serious show, but really it's all about helping people in need. And we get started right after this.
Their support changed my life.
They were like family.
My voice is now heard.
A home for every animal.
My future is bright because they cared.
This is our home now.
Thank you to the 1,200 nonprofits that serve Cass and Clay counties every day.
Our first guest today is Nikita White Simmons. Nikita, thanks for being here on Fox Valley in Focus. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You recently did a huge outreach this fall in all the communities in our Fox Valley area, and I wanted to ask you about that. What was the purpose of the outreach?
We are Advocate at Home Hospice Division, and what we do is look for volunteers to go out and help patients and families that are in need. And the need could be anywhere from just sitting with the families while they go out and do some shopping, they go out and maybe pay bills, or just at home to do some things that they're normally not able to do. So we go around and recruit volunteers to come and give a little companionship and socializations to the patient and the family and caregiver if needed.
Hospice is one of those things that people don't really want to talk about, and usually will avoid until the very last minute. They'll exhaust everything before they even want to consider hospice. So I'm guessing it's kind of a hard sell, and I thought maybe I'd ask you a little bit about hospice itself and what is the purpose of hospice?
Again, Advocate Hospice is part of the Advocate at Home division, which is also a part of the Advocate healthcare system. And Advocate, really, their commitment is to make sure that patients and families live life till its fullest, for the end of their days. So what Advocate does is to make sure that each family and their loved one, give that support to them as a team to make sure that that patient live well and with dignity for their last days.
Okay. What does that entail? What all is involved in hospice?
Well, with hospice, we have a huge team. We have the physicians, we have a chaplain, we have the bereavement services, we have nurses, we have care aides, and we also have volunteers. So that whole team comes in as a unit to help that patient. Again, that's when the family has decided to stop with the aggressive care, focusing on a cure, and more or less go toward pain management, symptom management, so that they can live the rest of their days out, with dignity and till its fullest.
So that was going to be my next question. How does that care really change? And, between someone who is looking for a cure and someone who is in hospice?
Well, the care changes because at some point, the patient is given a diagnosis that at that point can't necessarily be cured. So that is when that family makes that decision to say, okay, rather than try to continue aggressive treatment, we're just going to focus on pain management, symptomatics, that the patient now can be comfortable. Focus on more or less that if they're feeling better and more comfortable and not dealing with pain, that they can continue to live their life to the fullest, as opposed to we're continuing this aggressive treatment, chemos and things like that, and it's not really helping them at that point.
Sometimes the aggressive treatment is harder than anything.
Yes, it is.
And so they've gotten to a point where they're not going to fix it.
Correct.
We can't fix it. We're not even going to try to fix it. We're
Correct.
just going to enjoy each other and love each other.
Yes, and make you comfortable, make the patient very comfortable, yes.
How long have you been working with hospice?
I've been with hospice with Advocate for approximately 4 months, but I was in hospice before for 9 years.
So you've had a lot of experience, and I know you and I talked earlier before today's interview that hospice really doesn't know any age.
Correct. And hospice itself it doesn't focus on dying. Whoever the patient is, they want to focus on end-of-life care, to make sure that they live that life to its fullest. A lot of time, as we know, when we're in pain, we don't want to do anything. So these patients, although they have a life-threatening illness that can't be cured, with hospice and pain management, they're able to get out and live their life as normal as possible for the rest of those days. And it goes with, minors as well, or young adults as well, anyone that at that point is getting hospice services.
So this idea of waiting to the very last minute is not necessarily in the best interest if
Right.
to make that person or give that person the chance to live their life to the fullest.
Well, what happens is that decision has to be made with the patient and their family. A lot of times, because it is something that we don't talk about, and that's hospice or dying or death, that's just a conversation that does not happen. So when it happens ahead of time, and it's unfortunate that a family may get one of those diagnoses, then if they come on hospice, they receive the best benefits at that point. The benefits that they receive is that Medicare, Medicaid pays for everything 100%. They get all the tools that they need, the equipment at home, all the medications that they need that normally they couldn't pay for with Medicare or Medicaid. So really, if they come on board immediately, once they've decided to not continue with aggressive treatment, is when they receive the best benefits of hospice care. If they wait till the end, then at that point it really is just pain management and symptoms, because they waited such a period of time before actually taking advantage of all those wonderful services. And again, we have pre-bereavement, and what they do is come in beforehand, before it's time to have those conversations about your loved one, and they work with the families and the caregivers and the patient, and they even work with the families 13 months after their loved one has went on. So it's a wonderful service with great opportunities if you come on board at that time when the doctor first diagnosed you.
This is a fascinating topic. Nikita White Simmons is here as the coordinator of volunteer services. And when we come back, I want to ask you a little bit more about volunteering with hospice. We'll be right back right after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're talking with Nikita White Simmons. She is the volunteer coordinator for hospice, or the volunteer coordinator for hospice services, advocate at home, and we were talking about the whole idea of hospice, the concept, and families kind of grappling with that decision. But you mentioned a huge team of support that comes in for the family, and I wanted to ask you specifically about volunteerism.
Yes, our volunteer program, we seek individuals that would like to give back to the community, that really they just have to show like compassion, just the love, that want to be a friend or buddy to someone in need. I mean, you don't have to have like any, let's see.
Professional experience?
Yeah, you don't need that. You just need to be you, want to love someone, want to be there for someone. And that is the biggest, really the biggest thing that you can have, is a big heart to want to be a volunteer.
What I think volunteers sometimes shy away from is the commitment. They don't know what's going to be expected of them. How many hours is it to volunteer? Well, what are they looking at?
We ask the volunteers to commit at least to 1 hour a week.
Oh,
And
that's
within
not
that
bad.
hour, within that hour, a lot of times the family, again, may need a respite visit, and that's when the family steps away. A lot of times they want to do things, but they don't have anyone to leave their loved one with. So our volunteers come in and be that person for them. The family member then is allowed to go outside and do groceries, laundry, pick up prescriptions. Sometimes they do things around the house that they want to do, but they're afraid to leave their loved ones. Our volunteers also, it's sort of, again, be a buddy to that patient. When I say be a buddy, sometimes the volunteer goes in, they read, they play music for them, they sit back and watch movies with them. It's just sort of being that friend to them, because a lot of times when people are in hospice, they either have no family or people are afraid to come around them because of their ailment. And with our volunteers, we're just that. We're friends. We're buddies.
If you become a hospice volunteer, are you kind of assigned to one particular individual in your volunteer service?
Well, we have our team that goes and see the patients, the doctors, the social workers, the chaplain, the bereavement coordinator. They all go out and they, work with the families and they vet the process. So when they're with the families, they ask, is there a need to go out or a need, for a volunteer to come in? So they do that vetting process for us. Then they call and they let me know and say, I have a family that would like a volunteer to come in. And they'll say, just to be a buddy, maybe to shave the gentleman, paint the lady's fingernails, maybe read the Bible. It could be a million different things. It's just sort of being there. So at that point, I call the volunteer and I say, I have a volunteer in your area, and give them a little details and ask them what they like to go and be that companion for that volunteer. We're very flexible with time. We're very flexible with the days. Once I give you that initial connection, the volunteer is responsible at that point for calling the family and then set up that date and time that they would like to come and meet and, run errands or whatever it is that they need.
So in the background, they have you as support. Is there training?
Yes, there is training. All of our volunteers, because it is just like working in a hospital, they have to do a one-time fingerprint background check. They also have to do a health screen. They have to do a 4-hour online computer-based learning, and that's pretty much just kind of giving them all the history about hospice and the philosophy and the ins and outs of hospice, what to say, what not to say. And then they have an 8-hour classroom time. And again, we just kind of reiterate all of that. And the great part, we serve lunch.
Well, it also is a great comfort for families, I'm sure, that are hearing this show, because they're learning more about what it takes to be a volunteer. And these are all very comforting things to know that this person is dedicated enough to go through the training, that they have been had a background check done, that they have the support of professionals like yourself to help them. And so it should be an easy thing to have a volunteer come in and they can feel that they can trust that whole process.
Yes, they can. And also with our volunteers, if they are a student at school, they can use those hours toward their degrees. I know, like, we have students that come in and they need so many volunteer credit hours before they can complete. We are more than welcome to sign off on those as well. So medical students we've taken, students that want to study psychology to just kind of watch the patients. We really work with everybody who wants, really just have that heart to want to give back.
You're doing such a nice job explaining the whole hospice scenario and the whole process, and just knowing that there is that much support out there. Before the show, though, you told me about something very special that happens in the summer months, something to do with teddy bears.
Yeah, that's the Memory Bear Camp Bear. That takes place usually in June once a year. And what that is, it's a program for families that have small children that has lost loved ones, usually like kids or up into maybe their young adult years. And what happens is they take an article, a garment, and they decide, I want to make a bear out of this. So again, our volunteers take this garment, they sew it and shape it to a bear, and then the kids come in and stuff it with the little cotton, and they can also put something of their loved one in there, a picture, a ring, or anything that they want, and then they sew it up. So with that whole little program, that really helps a lot of people get by, because now they have something to hold and cherish forever of that loved one.
And again, it comes back to having that support after your loved one has passed away.
Yes.
Nikita, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know that you are available online. We can find you at advocatehealth.com and get more information. And I just want to thank you for being our guest here today.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more right after this.
Their support changed my life.
They were like family.
My voice is now heard.
A home for every animal.
My future is bright because they cared.
This is our home now.
Thank you to the 1,200 nonprofits that serve Cass and Clay counties every day.
Their support changed my life.
They were like family.
My voice is now heard.
A home for every animal.
My future is bright because they cared.
This is our home now.
Thank you to the 1,200 nonprofits that serve Cass and Clay counties every day.
Anna Mejia joins us now. Anna is the Care Coordination Unit Supervisor for Senior Services Associates Incorporated. And oh, that's a mouthful, Anna, but we're talking today about helping people in need. And our first guest was talking about hospice, but that could be people of any age. Senior Services Associates deals with older adults and the elderly.
That's correct.
And so what is the age of a senior citizen these days?
Well, different organizations have different definitions for the age of a senior, and now it's at the young age of 60 in order to qualify for some of the services offered through the Senior Services Associates.
And really, 60 is young when you think about it, because now you have almost 4 generations of senior citizens, don't you?
That is correct, yes.
I hear about so many more people these days that are making it to 100.
Yes. In fact, we have a lot of seniors that are over the age of 80, close to 90, that have never heard about us, and they're just now reaching out for assistance.
Well, that's interesting, and I want to ask you a little bit more about that in a minute. But first, tell me about your title, Care Coordination Unit Supervisor. What is a Care Coordination Unit?
Care Coordination Unit is, of course, a unit of service. We are contracted by the state. There's one per county, and we're contracted to provide assessments for people in the home. It's for anybody over the age of 60 is entitled to a free assessment, and the assessment is an evaluation for need of services depending on their physical abilities and their need, of course.
So anyone who is 60 and above qualifies to have someone come in and assess their needs. What kind of needs are they looking at?
Well, we're looking at physical needs. Mostly it's people that have become ill or recently been hospitalized and need assistance in the home. We evaluate the activities of daily living. There are other factors to keep in mind, such as assets or financial ability to, pay for services. So it's the people that are mostly in need due to physical or financial eligibility is what we look at.
And basically, as you said, you're looking at daily living. So what is your mission there?
Well, we look at their ability to eat, their ability to get dressed, to get up and out of bed. We look at their ability to do simple tasks such as answering the phone, laundry, housekeeping, preparing meals, transportation, and their ability to exit the home in the event of an emergency. So we look at the risk. So if doing any of those tasks poses a low risk, moderate, or high risk to their health, that is what they are evaluated based on.
So you're really trying to keep people in their own homes as long as you can.
And as safely as possible, yes.
And so it's interesting, as you're talking, I'm trying to imagine some of the scenarios that would put someone in that position. And it could be a simple car accident to an illness to a fall on the ice.
Yes, so any of that can put somebody at risk. So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that has aged into need, but it could be anybody. We have had people as young as 62 years old that just had a heart surgery, and they're just unable to take care of themselves for the next 2 weeks. These services would provide that assistance while they are in recovery. So also the focus of the services is to keep them in the home. It also helps people to avoid having to go to a nursing home for rehabilitation. If they can get their medical needs met in the home, these services can also supplant that and try to keep them in the home longer.
So stay in your own home, get healthier, and hopefully outgrow your need for care.
Yes.
Or care coordination.
Yes, that is the goal. But they can also become lifetime members of services and have a care coordinator manage their case and provide assistance as needed. We also provide services such as information and referral for community-based services. There's a license plate discount through the Benefit Access Program. There's community resources such as LIHEAP that helps pay utility bills when they're not able to do so. So the case manager will evaluate all of those needs.
So you are really like the place to go or the place to call if you have any questions about any of these services. And you said you have information and assistance available for community-based. So if someone has the ability to pay for all these services, you can help them find care
Yes.
in their own home.
Absolutely. We do have lists of providers that will provide the help in the home. So the way it works is we receive the referral and we do an intake. We pass it on to an information and assistance person that will evaluate if they can provide assistance by just giving them referrals or a list of people they can call. If they need a little more assistance, it's referred to a care coordinator, and then the care coordinator will then go out to the home to do the assessment and then provide whatever services are needed there. And case management also involves that providing of referral for services. So if they're not eligible to get the benefits through the state free of cost, then there's other levels of services where they can get it at a discounted rate, or if they are not eligible for that, then we would provide the private pay
It
list.
seems so confusing, and I know just being a daughter, you know, that it's like learning a foreign language or going to a foreign country, trying to figure out all of these things. It's good to know that you're there and you can help.
Absolutely, yes. It is a foreign language. We do have something else called options counseling, so you do not have to be 60 in order to get options counseling, and that provides counseling regarding benefits that you may need in the future. So we have 50-something-year-olds that reach out and say, I want to know what I am eligible for when I'm 60, or I'm worried about paying my mortgage when I turn 60, and I figured
they
out
can
that
just
Social
call.
Security won't cover it. So yes, and we can help them plan for the future as well.
We're talking with Anna Mejia from Senior Services Associates Incorporated, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Their support changed my life.
They were like family.
My voice is now heard.
A home for every animal.
My future is bright because they cared.
This is our home now.
Thank you to the 1,200 nonprofits that serve Cass and Clay counties every day.
Their support changed my life.
They were like family.
My voice is now heard.
A home for every animal.
My future is bright because they cared.
This is our home now.
Thank you to the 1,200 nonprofits that serve Cass and Clay counties every day.
We're talking with Anna Mejia, Care Coordination Unit Supervisor for Senior Services Associates Incorporated. And Anna, in the first half, you pretty much told us that if we're a family member, if we're a child, if we're under 60, we can still call because you have an awful lot of information to offer.
That is correct.
It's amazing, all of the things that are part of this whole new landscape of being an older adult or a family member, a loved one of an older adult, and that you have to manage it. Tell me a little bit more about Senior Services. How big is the agency, and what are some of the challenges that it faces?
Okay, well, the agency covers 3 counties. We cover Kane, Kendall, and McHenry. I oversee Southern Kane and Kendall. We have an office, so we have 5 offices total. Under our roof, we house the Care Coordination Unit, the Information and Referral. We also house Ombudsman, Adult Protective Services, and several volunteer services such as the Retired Senior Volunteer Program and Senior Companion Program. We also offer some transportation assistance. I know transportation is a challenge to get for seniors in the counties, so we have taken that under our belt as well.
But it's good that you work with all those different components that are part of the problem. But you also outlined some other things that we hadn't even thought about. You know, ombudsman service and adult protective services, making sure that your loved ones are safe and that they're not being, mistreated in any way. You must have to do a lot of outreach to other agencies.
Yes, we do. We hold meetings. We attend meetings in the community. There are several senior services providers, groups that network together in order to help seniors or the elderly in our community. So we do network. We have a Facebook page. So for the people that are computer savvy, they can go on our Facebook page or our website and get more information there too.
Okay, and a lot of our seniors are doing that.
Yes, yes. Some of the offices also provide technology assistance programs. So we'll have groups of seniors that will come in and they'll want to learn how to use their tablet or how to use a computer or even their cell phone. So that's available on an as needed basis, and different offices offer different programs at that level.
It's interesting, though, in the first segment that we were talking, you mentioned that you're always finding 80 and 90-year-olds that have never heard of senior services.
That is true, yes. That is because nowadays there are people that are more self-sufficient, and I think sometimes it's a little difficult for any of us to accept that we need help. Even at our age, it's hard to accept help. So I think that is the reason. There's also a lot of people that are out there that can really take care of themselves and are not in need of our services. It just depends on the generation, I think.
I think you're right. I think people like to be self-reliant, but sometimes it's a crisis that's going to send them to your door, and then you have to have very special people there to respond to that crisis, because when the call comes in, it's coming in because there is a crisis.
That is true. And we do work also with our local government agencies, so we work with the police department, fire department, and if they get a call with somebody in crisis, they will definitely reach out to us. So we've gotten calls from them as well.
How is senior services funded?
Well, senior services, we do cover a lot of programs. So some of the programs are funded by the state. Others are funded by community agencies, such as the Fox Valley United Way is a big funder, and the United Way of McHenry County also funds us. So we have other local agencies that provide funding. We do a lot of fundraising.
Government funding too?
Some of the counties, like we say, we cover 3 counties, so we do get some local government funding. I know the Aurora Township helps the Aurora office a lot by providing funding for various activities there also.
But fundraising is always an issue.
Fundraising is a big part of what we do. We are a non-for-profit agency. We do have fundraisers throughout the year, and we have local fundraisers also where we will all get together. We had a mattress sale at the Yorkville office, and that was a big hit. Now we're going to expand that to our other offices. So that's one example of local funding. Big fundraisers such as a pie auction for the King County, and we used to have a fashion show. Now it's a trivia night for our Yorkville office. So those are our big office fundraisers.
So you like to have fun too. But I think it's nice because those are ways that people can get involved in what you're doing.
Yes.
The fundraising offers an opportunity for us to help too.
Yes, that is true. We also rely on a lot of volunteers. Our transportation program runs on a volunteer base, as well as the Ombudsman program. They also rely on volunteers to carry that out. I think that volunteers are a big part of senior services, and the number of volunteer hours does not compare to our ability to be able to pay all of those people to provide the services.
Well, I really think this entire show has been about volunteerism and making a difference in the lives of someone else, reaching out and helping a friend, whether that's a young friend to an old friend, any age. We all need each other. And with that, I hate to say it, but we're out of time. But Anna, thank you so much for being on our show today, and thank you to Nikita as well. And we will see you next time on Fox Valley in Focus. I'm Barb Nadeau for Fox Valley Television.